If you call enough brands, lucky things will happen.
They rejected my brand direct invoice, but the pricing don't make sense. How do you deal with them?
I have a couple ideas. This is gonna sound crazy, but if you get a brand registry invite, often that will auto ungate the product. In today's video, we're going to be having a real life conversation with a new Amazon seller and his friend who's a distributor, just chopping it up about all things Amazon, and I'm gonna see if I can help him with whatever he's struggling with. And if you're new here, my name is Dan Buford, AKA 1000 ASINs. I'm going on $80 million of sales on Amazon and run a multi 8-figure per year Amazon wholesale business. Hope you enjoy. Hey Maz, it's Dan, 1000 ASINs. How you doing? So yeah, welcome to the hotline. Hopefully give you some pointers, point you in the right direction, and help you grow.
Definitely, man. Definitely.
Why don't you start by telling me a little bit about yourself, where your business is at right now. Maybe mention some challenges you're facing right now in the business too.
I saw your videos. Just by watching your videos and your free content that you provide, I was able to secure multiple brand direct accounts.
Awesome. Congratulations. That's great.
Yeah, like I think more than 5 to 7, I guess. I'm not really sure, but the major issue I faced is like they rejected my brand direct invoice.
Rejected for trying to get ungated, or rejected for authenticity?
Ungated.
Okay. Did they give you any detail why they rejected that invoice?
They said we couldn't verify or, generate the AI responses. Like as soon as I was posting, they keep on rejecting it.
I have a couple ideas there. This is going to sound crazy, but you can try rotating the invoice 180 degrees in your PDF editor and send it upside down. And often the AI or the bot scanning the invoice can't tell what it is, and then that triggers a manual review of the invoice. That can sometimes help. It can also help doing that same thing with account health issues. So I'd suggest that, and then try to connect the dots for them. It takes 10 tries, 15 tries, like highlight it a different way, rotate the invoice. You can upload a second attachment with an explanation of who's who and like proof that the brand is who they say they are and all that type of stuff. Sometimes you have to just spell it out again and again. And then another way to get ungated for the brand is if the brand invites you as a reseller on brand registry. So often that will solve the problem immediately and get you ungated. Just recently in my own business, about 3 days ago actually, I was gated for a brand, and the brand sent me an invite on their brand registry as an authorized reseller role. I accepted it, and then I was immediately ungated and able to sell their products. That's probably the number one thing you should try to do. Short of that, yeah, try the first two things I said. And I'm glad to hear that you've received enough free value that it's actually been able to land you some brand direct accounts. So that's awesome.
Definitely. A lot of times these brands have really high pricing when I call them. Like even when I tell them like, everything makes sense, you call them, but the pricing don't make sense. A lot of them, like, how do you deal with them? Even you're buying from manufacturers at this point.
Yeah, sometimes that does happen where the first price list they give you is going to be pretty mediocre pricing, kind of designed for brick and mortars and designed for very low volume. Like you buy 2 cases of this and 3 cases of that for your brick and mortar store. And you can pay higher because you can sell it higher in brick and mortar and you don't have Amazon fees to deal with. So the margins are a lot higher on brick and mortar. Of course, brick and mortar stores have their own overhead that online sellers don't have. Like they have to pay rent and they have to pay for their employees and their shop and all that stuff. But a lot of times their price lists, they'll work for brick and mortar retailers or low volume retailers. They won't necessarily work for Amazon. A lot of times the name of the game for Amazon, you have to hit their absolute highest volume tier and negotiate the pricing down to be able to do that. What I'll do if the pricing just doesn't work, if it's break even, I'll just be straight up and honest with them and say, after fees, if I were to purchase this product, I would make 19 cents a unit or something. And then after returns and after shipping, I'd be losing money.
Yeah.
So then I basically show them like an Amazon profit calculator just so they understand too. Listen, here's the current price on Amazon, and then here's the 15% customer referral fee, here's the FBA fee, here's shipping, storage, and then here's my buy cost. And they can see with their own eyes, like, oh, okay, if we do sell them the product at this price, it's going to break even for the seller, might even lose them money. So you just show them that, and then you give them a target price where you need to be at to hit, your 10, 15, 20% margin. And often it's just a negotiation. Another thing you can say is, do you have a distributor tier of pricing? A lot of brands will give you a retailer tier of pricing, and then they'll kind of withhold a next level of their pricing, which is the distributor tier. So I've gotten price lists in my journey where I've gotten the price, everything's break even, and I'm like, I just said, do you have a distributor tier of pricing that's lower than this? And they say, oh, okay, yeah. We do have a separate price list for distributors, and then they send it, and then the minimum order is more like 20 or 30,000, but the pricing is all 20-30% lower. Then you're like, okay, I get it now. This is the pricing I need for Amazon. This is probably the pricing that other Amazon sellers is getting. So my advice is two things. Ask for a distributor tier of price if there is one. Show them the actual profit calculator. Be like, I'm on your team here. I want to sell products, but I can't do it at break even or losing. So how are these other sellers able to sell at this cost? And just open up that dialogue, and then push volume. Say, I'm looking to buy more than 2 cases of product. I'm looking to buy pallets of product. And since I'm doing this huge volume, like what's the absolute best you can do for 500 units, 1,000 units, and that can sometimes open the door to lower pricing. So.
And I have my partner here. He's wholesaler, big wholesaler, been in business for 10 years. He just want to have talk with you.
Nice. Awesome.
Please.
What is the reason for it, if somebody fails in your course?
I'd say the biggest reason for failure, I wouldn't even say it's a course thing. I'd say it's just this business model, because we teach you how to do this business model. Whether you want to do it or not is up to you. And the biggest reason for failure in this business model is getting discouraged when accounts and suppliers tell you no. I think at the start, you're going to encounter a lot of no's. There's also a fairly steep learning curve with how to help brands grow. It's not rocket science, but you have to learn some stuff. Comparing this to the arbitrage business model, where you can just scan an item in Walmart and great, it's $5 and I can sell it for $20 online. Yay. That's easier, but it's not sustainable. We teach you how to actually do sales calls and contact brands and deal with a lot of rejection. And I'd say most of the people that fail in the business are looking for an easy handout. They want to pick up the phone 3 times, and if they get 3 no's in a row, they give up. I'd say, so lack of persistence, resilience would be the main reason for failure. But basically everyone I know who is just kept going and kept emailing, kept calling, ends up finding an account that works, and then they're off to the races. The truth is, a lot of brands, they sell directly on Amazon themselves, or they're partnered exclusively with someone already, and that's okay. You just skip over those brands. There's a lot of brands in the world. It's more about just constantly contacting brands that are at the right moment to work with someone like you. And the more calls you put in, the quote unquote luckier you get. Sometimes brands are unhappy with their current partner, and they say, oh, maybe you're calling at a very opportune time. I'm looking for a different partner. That's happened to us. Or sometimes they didn't want anything on Amazon, and then they gave up, and they say, okay, we need an Amazon program. Let's onboard you. So if you call enough brands, lucky things will happen. So.
Also, I just love to be a part of ECG, but I just want to get in so bad. I feel like just by watching your videos and free guides, I was able to do this. The price point is pretty high. Maybe a cheaper version or anything of that sort,
We've toyed around with building a cheaper version, but I don't really like gatekeeping information. The reason I haven't done a $500 product or something with the basics, I want to set people up to actually succeed with everything they need. And I just don't feel right being well, if you want the real sauce, if you want the real truth, pay me 10 times as much. So it's just not in my nature to withhold information at different tiers and stuff. So my program's just kind of I give you everything I've got. We're not cheap because we put a lot of work into it, and in my opinion, we're the best. But the good news is with your brand direct accounts, I mean, you should be able to be generating profit that will allow you to be able to, get into the program. I think you're well positioned to succeed, and it sounds like you've already had some success just watching my free content, and I do plan to continue to put that out, provide as much free value that I can, and I appreciate you guys following along and wish you the best of luck. And then, if the time comes you want to join, we'll be here. And
Definitely. Definitely. Thank you so much, Dan.
Key takeaways from that call. One, I'm really happy to hear that someone that's just watching my free content was able to successfully get, he said, between 5 and 7 brand direct accounts and 2 distributors. He didn't say that on the call, but he messaged me that before the call. So he was able to land some accounts. Happy about that, but he experienced 2 common roadblocks, which number one, gating. Amazon is changing their gating system all the time, and it's never getting easier. It's always getting harder. Let's say a year or 2 ago, often they would just need an invoice or even retail receipt with 10 units of a product from that brand, and then you get approved to sell it. Now I'm seeing they require invoices, and they specifically say no retail receipts. So invoices from distributors or manufacturers or brands. And it says with the purchase of at least 100 units, I've seen 200 units, I've seen 300, and I've actually even seen 400, a minimum of 400 units on an invoice for certain brands. So this is Amazon signaling very clearly they want you to be purchasing large quantities from authorized distributors or the brand directly. Another interesting point he made is that even with a letter of authorization, Amazon is still rejecting him, which is pretty strange. Amazon has been a huge pain with ungating basically anything in the past 6 months. I'm not sure why that is, but it's never been more difficult. Even for my account, I've experienced the same problem. Invoice, letter of authorization, and they're just like, no. But you have to just keep trying and keep trying and keep submitting and doing whatever you can to get ungated. And sometimes on like the 10th try, the 20th try, the right person just reviews it and says, okay. And another key point there is, and this is fresh info from just like a week or 2 ago, anecdotally from my account. If you get a brand registry invite, often that will auto ungate the product. There are a couple new brands we're taking on where their letter of authorization and invoice did not work despite trying like 3 or 4 times. We went back to the brand, hey, can you just invite us as an authorized reseller, which is something we typically do anyway, but we did that so we could maybe try and get the ungate pushed through. And they did that, we accepted the invite, and then we were just automatically ungated. We didn't even need to apply again to get ungated. So I think Amazon's system now, if you're an authorized reseller in their brand registry, it triggers something in their system and it just automatically allows you to sell the product. So another key point is pricing. So a lot of times you get a price list, you're all jazzed up, amazing, I got the account. I hate to break it to everyone, but probably around half the time, the pricing's not gonna work. The pricing's gonna be disappointing. When you plug in the numbers and compare it to Amazon prices, you'll see like, this is losing $2 a unit. How's anyone selling this? Then you have to go back to the brand, negotiate the price lower, try to get further volume discounts. Sometimes it will just work right off the bat. I've seen that. Sometimes I've seen the numbers and been like, wow, everything's 25, 30% margin. This is amazing. That does happen too. But I'd say probably half the time the numbers are uninspiring, and then it's on you to have that conversation with the brand. So a lot of people don't know you can even do that. A lot of people just accept the prices, look at it, take a glance and say, it's break even, I'm moving on to the next supplier. Don't do that. At least give your full effort to getting the price as low as you can till the supplier hits their breaking point where they're just like, we can't do it, we've never done lower than this. Like, you can kind of sense when they're like, I don't know what to tell you, this is the price. And then at that point you can just move on and say, we'll circle back. Don't burn the bridge, but just circle back and say, okay, the pricing just doesn't work given the current landscape and prices online, but we would like to continue to work with you. We're going to revisit the pricing in 3 months or 6 months and continue to check in. And you can often make things happen down the road, even if it doesn't work right now. And then the last point, I'll say it's good that he has a distributor friend. It sounds like he is kind of working another angle of the business, and brands love to work with brick and mortar stores and brick and mortar distributors. It sounds like he's well positioned. And if anyone's listening out there that has a pre-existing brick and mortar store or distribution business, you are the 1 yard line basically, because you're exactly who the brands want to work with. And as he said in the call, he's trying to leverage those brick and mortar relationships into e-commerce. Sounds like he hasn't yet succeeded with a couple of the brands. Are already all set on Amazon, but I'm sure if he keeps going that road, down that road, he will find some brands that will say yes to that. So it's cool to get into the trenches with a couple of people starting out on Amazon. Thought it was a pretty cool conversation. We're gonna do more of these conversations in the future. I'm gonna basically open my hotline and have a few people call in over 30 minutes or an hour, and you can just hear real one-on-one conversations from the Amazon world, and hopefully I can help these people out. So thanks for listening. I'll see you guys in the next video. Have a great day. Thanks for watching this YouTube video, and if you want to learn directly from me and fast track your way to wholesale success, click the link below and we'll talk to you soon. Thank you.